Namaskar. Sorry to keep you all waiting. We had to make sure that the official confirmation was here before we started commenting on this. Governor Gavin Newsom has returned the SB-403 bill, saying that it is not necessary and that he is not signing the bill. Before we all jump up and down with joy and start smoking cigars, there is a subtext to all this. So I don't want us to start feeling that it is a victory at this point of time. I want to caution you, there's a lot of work still pending to be done, but it can be done. To understand more about how laws are framed and drafted and how they move through different chambers and so on and so forth, we have Utsav Chakrabarti who's joining us. Utsav, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Happy to be here.
So Utsav, Utsav is with HinduAction.org, and we also have many other organizations who have contributed, who have worked very, very hard. Hindu American Foundation and A4H, America for Hindus. This organization is a new PAC which have worked tirelessly to make sure that the 403 bill does not become law. At this point of time, I'm going to read this letter from the governor. I'm going to put it up right now. You take a look at it, viewers, and Utsav and I will be analyzing this word for word because it needs to be looked at very carefully. Here we go. Can you make it a little bit easier to read? Okay, so I'm going to read it from my... To the members of the California State Senate, I am returning Senate Bill 403 without my signature. This bill, remember, it started at the Senate, so that is the actual bill. This bill would define ancestry for purposes of the Fair Employment and Housing Act, the Unruh Act, and the Education Code to include caste and other dimensions of ancestry. So he has given that paragraph as to why this bill was proposed. Then he says, in California, we believe everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter who they are, where they come from, who they love, or where they live. That is why California already prohibits discrimination based on sex, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, disability, gender identity, sexual orientation, and other characteristics, and state law specifies that these civil right protections shall be liberally construed. Because discrimination based on caste is already prohibited under these existing categories, this bill is unnecessary. And for this reason, I cannot sign this bill. Now, here is the question that everybody thinks. Does this mean he has vetoed the bill? Well, this is the question that I'm going to ask Utsav. I have my own 2 cents on this. Utsav, let me know what you think.
So in my understanding, he is saying that he's not signing this bill. He's not saying that he has vetoed this. So in my understanding, I think this bill will go back to the Senate and it has to be reevaluated by the members of the Senate and the Assembly. And it will be relooked at. But what is more important, Sree, and pardon my lighting here because I was traveling, and this is such a short notice to hear such a good news. What is important here, Sree, is that a clear and unambiguous message has been sent to the proponents of the bill from the highest authority in California. So that part has to be very clearly understood, and that the bill is not needed. And this is something that has been the struggle for the community for so long. And I'm glad you named organizations like Hindu American Foundation, like KONA, A4H. Everybody in the space of Hindu advocacy worked tirelessly, especially those who are operating in California, to send this message that the governor gave today. And that is the biggest outcome of this effort. And I think it sends it's certainly a moral victory, if not hands down, light my cigar victory. It's an absolute and clear moral victory for the Hindu American community, for the Indian American community, and for the larger Asian American community in California.
Thank you. And I just needed to send. I'm trying to get one more person to join here, Nikunj Trivedi of KONA, and he's also been very, very hard at work trying to get this thing. This is whatever we have gotten thus far is something that has happened because a lot of us have pulled our weight. And there is absolutely no doubt in my mind. I can't give all the names. I just wanted to mention the organizations that are coming to my mind. Utsav, I want you to weigh in on the kind of work that happened in the background. Just give me 2 minutes while I have Nikunj come and join us. He's just driving and he's going to pull over and he's joining us also. So just talk for 2 minutes and I'll be right back.
Absolutely. So, what everybody needs to understand here is that this was an uphill climb for the community because of the massive propaganda and disinformation that was pushed in California over the last 1.5 years. And in fact, actually more than that, last 2.5 to 3 years, actually. It started with the Cisco lawsuit against some of the American Hindu community members, targeting them using caste. And from that space on to today, this journey of the Hindu American community has been such a bitter struggle against ambiguous disinformation, targeted and focused attack on the community by the very same organizations that pushed this bill and got it through the Senate and the House. And it went down to pure and unadulterated hatred in some of these hearings, in some of the the local level, the campus level activism that went around this bill. So this is a sweet victory for the community. And the way the community achieved this sweet victory that you see today through the rejection from the governor is through hard work, continuous advocacy that every organization, and I named HF, I named Kona, I named our Hindu Action was very much involved in providing inputs on the background of the people who were involved in this agenda, and it was a very good effort coming together. Full credit to A4H, full credit to all the people of California. And Sree, I will let you give it back to you and see if Nikunj is around, and we'll carry forward.
And Nikunj is joining us. Nikunj, congratulations. Although we've been very cautious, not a time to light the cigars yet, because we know that even if the governor had vetoed this, the Senate and the Assembly can override it with a 2/3 majority. But the question that will be in front of all of them is, wait a minute, the governor has a very specific reason for doing so. Does it still make sense for us to go back and override it? What are the costs involved? And in light of what is happening right now in a different part of the world, I think the time for them, this fake narrative, this false narrative, has come to an end. Nikunj, your thoughts. You guys have worked very, very hard. I'm trying to bring some more of our friends online, but I yield you the floor, my friend. Go ahead.
No, this is thank you very much. And we've been talking about this for, I can recall in 2021, we were about to launch a campaign to the governor urging him to not support this bill. So, we've come a long way. It's been 2 years since the campaign has been going on, but really ramped up last year with a lot of groups coming together, a lot of people coming together, different organizations. And I think on the grassroots level, we have met with literally 50 to 60 different lawmakers across the board at the assembly level, the Senate level, and then, of course, outreach to the governor's office, meeting with the regional directors, and kind of working the back channels. Obviously, we cannot share all the names, but working the back channels to reach to the governor directly. I think this is a very important thing. Even if the Assembly and the Senate decide to overturn his veto, it sends a very, very strong message to all the other states that are contemplating this, that the governor has vetoed this bill. And it's a massive victory, I feel, for this particular part. Remember, we have been traumatized. I can tell you, I have been sleepless for so many nights straight in a row. And our Dalit Bahujan community members that have been supporting this whole idea that this is a ridiculous bill have been traumatized themselves, because all of a sudden their religion is being targeted. Our students have been traumatized. Our parents have been traumatized. They have been called castists, bigots, so many different things just for fighting for their rights and making sure that this bill doesn't pass. So it's a victory for those people, but also we have to remember that in this, there has been some costs. Milind Makwanaji, as you know, a brave warrior amongst us, is no more. And his last battle before he gave up fighting essentially in this mortal body was, please make sure that the bill does not pass, right? So we all remember Milindji today, and the brave fight that he has put together, and all the warriors of Dharma that have been fighting this fight to make sure that this narrative is pushed back. And I think the governor's veto is a major victory for us from that perspective. The fight is not done by all means or any means. We have to continue to challenge, because this will continue at that target now is to get to the federal level. But it's really important to take a step back and say, this is the type of work that advocacy is all about, that all the different organizations have worked together on this strategically in the back end, in the front end, in so many different ways. And we're going to continue to highlight this and really call out the players that have been, the bigotry that has been passed by the players involved, because this is a good win for us. And remember, this as governor eyes the presidential election and things like that, there are a lot of calculations that change at the national level, right? And I think this is playing right into that, I feel. And we're going to continue to monitor this and work with other organizations and groups to make sure that this continues to be pushed back, not just in California, but across the board.
Thank you so much. And I also have Satish Chandra Vale from A4H, America for Hindus. Satish ji, namaskar. Welcome to P Guru's channel. First time you are coming online, sir. Your thoughts. You have put in a lot of work, Ramesh Japra ji. And I must also mention the office of Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy and his team. Excellent work. A lot of work has gone from there. Thank you so much, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, and also any other congressman. Rokhana also has had played his part. But the most important thing here is everybody pulled together. Satish ji, over to you.
Thank you so much. I can't express my. I don't have any words to express. It's a great victory. I would say, as Nikunji was saying, it's a victory of Pandavas against Mammoth Kauravas, against Dharma, and it's a victory of David against Goliath. And see, the thing is, I give credit to each and everyone who was part of this particular journey, and this is dedicated to Milinji, who was very close friend of mine. And when he has collapsed in the city council, we were part of that particular ordeal. And he might be in the heaven, and he is right now smiling and happy. And this is dedicated to my friend Milind Makwana, who has fought this battle. And I really thank Governor. He had that kind of literally looking at the logical reasonings, and has vetoed this bill, and he has put it in right direction, because we are all against discrimination. And so you don't require any discrimination, because the existing laws covers all of them. And why to bring this kind of a degrading kind of an caste system which is not prevailing at all? And we don't carry this in our degrees or in our passports or anywhere. I mean, say you are imposing upon it. And I think salute to him, the governor. And we from A4H family is going to do whatever we have done the lobbying. There are 27 congressmen who has joined the Hindu caucus. I would say Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh caucus, and that's where we have done a lot of background work, and a lot of foot soldiers who have worked on this one. We have been, going regularly to all the, Senate committee hearings, assembly hearings, even the last protest we have done in the Sacramento, and it is dedicated to each and every, I would say, Californian, at large Americans, and at large overall, all the Hindus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Satiji. Please stay on the line. I have a few more things that I want to discuss with all of us. Nikunji and Utsavji, first Utsav, then Nikunj. See, this is not done yet. It is not over yet. If, let us say, the Assembly and Senate decides to try and override this, that means they'll have to vote on it again. So I think we need to go back to our constituents and to our lawmakers and say, look, there is a reason behind why Governor Newsom has turned it back. When we have been saying this for a long time now. So don't make it, don't make yourself look stupid. That's what I would say, but I'm not a very diplomatic person. I see it like I say it. Utsav, what do you think people need to do? Everybody has been, working very, very hard, but there is still work to do. Over to you. I'm going to just step out for a second. I'm going to try and get one other person. By the way, Sundar Iyer, what about his contribution? Poor guy was the object of all this caste discrimination lawsuit at Cisco.
Yeah.
He had taken so many arrows. I'm going to try and reach out to him. I'm not 100% sure I can. At the same time, I want to yield the floor to you, Utsav, and I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sree. So, a couple of things. The first thing I think what we have to do is to not rest at all on what the government has just done, because what brought us here was the apathy that we had over the last decade, which had to be made up with immense sacrifices of people like Milinji in the last 2 years and 3 years. So let us not stop at our laurels and our minor success here that the governor has acknowledged our point of view. The next thing we have to do is to go to the people and go across the country to the people, because the other side is so virulent in their agenda against us that they're not going to stop here. They're going to spread across the country and try to bring their agenda all across. So the first thing I wanted everybody to come to our briefing, congressional briefing on October 23rd, in which Sundar Iyer will also be speaking. And it's a coincidence. We had planned this briefing more than 3-4 weeks ago, but it is important that that briefing on targeted Hinduphobia and anti-Hindu bigotry and anti-Semitism will bring together members of all the community that have been suffering through this kind of disinformation. So October 23rd, Rayburn Building at 4 o'clock, I invite everybody to come. This will be an important place where we carry forward to the next level. The next thing, Sree, I think we have to do is, and Nikunj pointed out and Satishji pointed it out, is to continue this momentum and make sure that people across California and people across America know what the agenda of the people who are bringing this caste agenda, the caste resolutions, actually is. So one of the efforts for us remains to unmask them, to show each of their backgrounds and where their special interest comes from. Their donors and their backers need to be exposed. Number two, I think Satishji pointed out that lawmakers like Ro Khanna and Raja Krishnamurthy were instrumental in voicing their opposition to this kind of caste-based discrimination that was brought by SB-403. I also would like to add Sree Thanedar to that list. Sree Thanedar was also involved, at least in the last couple of weeks, to express publicly his dissatisfaction with SB-403. So I think credit goes to each member of the community, members of Congress who came out against this bill. And I think more importantly, all of us should come together to thank Governor Newsom. And the letter he has written is very short, but the letter carries with it the death blow, a logical death blow to the entire SB-403 and the caste agenda that drives it. In literally one paragraph, Governor Newsom says, this is a waste of time, this is a waste of people's money, and this is a waste of people's intention towards equality. So the final nail in the coffin from the governor, but I hope people get the message in the State Assembly and the State Senate.
Absolutely. Thank you, Utsav. And Nikunj, go ahead. And I just wanted to tell our viewers that I'm trying to get Sundar Iyer online. I'm reasonably hopeful that he'll also come online, because you need to understand, viewers, you need to understand the amount of ordeal some of us have been put through. For 3 years, this man was hounded for something he did not do. So wait for a few minutes. But in the meantime, Nikunj, your thoughts, and then we'll go to Satish Chandraji. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. I think Utsav hit the points on the head right away. And I think we cannot stop. We have to now, even if this is the final thing, we have to seal the coffin completely. And we have to make sure that we identify and expose the agenda, the bigotry that has been peddled by all these different groups and organizations, as well as making sure there are flaws in the bill. The letter that's short, he's saying short, is a waste of time. There's already an ancestry definition, so why do we need caste? All those things are just exactly the arguments that we have made for all these years, right? For the last 2 years, 3 years, people have been making this argument. Every single group, we have all been making the same argument. So I'm glad that the governor saw that and he had the wisdom to veto this bill. Now, the next steps are basically to now all of us need to align and make sure that we can have the conversation with the governor's office. We can have conversations back to all the assembly members and the senators that may think about voting on this again if it goes back to be voted, right? So that's really important. But also taking it to the next level where we go to other states like Oregon, in other places where these bills are being contemplated and saying, look, this is what the fight has been. The governor finally vetoed this bill, and he has made it very clear why he vetoed it in a very short letter. So we have to use this quite a bit. Our narrative has to amplify significantly. We cannot go back and go to sleep saying, oh, this is all done. Unfortunately, what happens with our community, once they see a little glimmer of victory, everybody goes back to sleep saying, okay, no, back to Kumbhakarna, going to sleep again because the battle is over. No, it's not over. This is just a pause. We have 5 minutes to breathe, folks, before we go on to the next one. So this is the 5-minute breather. We thank the governor, but we move on to the next level because the other side is not going to stop. They're going to make a lot of noise about this. They're going to try to push the governor in so many ways. They're going to work against him. So many things are going to go on, and we need to be ready to take that onslaught onto us.
Thank you so much, Nikund. Satish Chandraji, you started this thing around the time SB-403 was also coming up, picking up momentum. So A4H has been very busy. You guys have really walked the extra mile. I know the amount of hard work that has gone into this. So Satish Chandraji, I think your first innings is over. There is a lot more coming. You will have to go back and make the rounds again to make sure that this win doesn't get stopped here, and that all the assemblymen and senators have to be told, listen, you can't override the governor again and go back and try to pass this as well. And they will try. Lies, this is the problem with lies, right? Once you have built a castle out of lies, you can't afford even one card to fall off because the whole thing is going to collapse. And that's exactly what I see, and that's what we need to make happen. So over to you, Satish ji, and I will try and see if I can get Sundar ji to join again. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Iyer ji. So just to add on to what Utsav ji and Nikund ji were saying, right? So most important is, if you tend to take the history of the SB-403, how it was pushed, under our nose. And initially at the Senate committee, they passed 11-0. The wrapper looks awesome, because it's a discrimination bill, and I doubt anybody within the Senate committee has read the bill, because based on the face value of how Senator Wahab has put forward the bill that got passed at 11-0. And slowly, but what was happening is, slowly when it went into the Senate, when it went into again to Assembly and appropriation committees, all those things, all the politicians started realizing how bad this bill is, and we had a very less time to articulate clearly to all the lawmakers within the California, like how divisive this bill is, how it is going to be detrimental for the unity of all the Americans itself. So I think we are very confident that we will go back on the board, try to take much more people who are also sponsoral, like maybe we will contact Ash Kalra, we will contact others who has been saying no on this, and to give them such kind of sense and such legal arguments, and why governor had made the decision. And yeah, definitely we will take it forward, the fight. And this is a battle. See, what I foresee is, the California, they found like a proof of concept for the opposition forces, and they wanted to do this in at least in maybe 5 to 10 the states. First, I think Oregon was in the target, New York, Illinois, and others also. So it's a wake up call, and I really I really appreciate in a disguise, right? They bought this bill, but they bought more and more unity to our community. I thank for them, because we were in few numbers when this SB-403 were there, like Nikunji knows, Utsavji knows, and now we have grown in a number at large, because people are realizing we are at stake. We are on the menu, so we should not be on the menu, we should be on the table. That's what we have to do. And hats off to everyone who has fought for it, and we will not going to leave this one. This gives us more power, empowerment.
One thing we all need to find out now, and the governor should also find out, who was the organization and the people who threatened Ayesha Wahab on the day the bill was introduced, because there was never a police case filed. On the day Ayesha Wahab introduced the Senate bill, she said she received death threats. and since then has been playing the victim card. So it is important that we investigate, and the governor can easily find out who the people were, because that will expose a big sequence of lies that have come up and the level of disinformation that this bill was walking on. So now it's the time to actually unwrap a lot of the people who were behind that disinformation, the disinformation itself. And I think that the governor's office should start looking into that next.
Yes. Last words, Nikunj. I could not get Sundar today. Unfortunately, he's driving, so he can't join. But that's all right. We have all the stories now. And also, I was trying to reach somebody from Hindu American Foundation. I've still not heard from them. I want each of you to give 1 minute of your final thoughts while I try and see if I can get somebody from HAF also. Over to you, Nikunj.
Yeah, I will basically say that this is, again, as everyone has summarized, this fight is continues. We want to make sure that everybody joins these efforts. It's not just California, but the continuous narrative against the Hindus will amplify, given all things that are going on in geopolitics, things that are going on in America. So we now need to be part of grassroots advocacy efforts and making sure that people join these organizations, join the efforts, not just about caste, but across the board. So caste is just the biggest issue that we're facing right now, but there's going to be other things that are coming up. So, let's get ready, let's work together, and we can celebrate for a few minutes, but then right back to work.
Well, I also am trying to see if I can get Pandit Satish Kumar Sharma ji, who can forget his contribution, to come all the way from across the pond to get this caste conference going, to involve everybody, to rouse the troops, to also tell us how this moved through so quickly in the United Kingdom. And I'm trying to see if I can get him also on the line. So stay tuned. I want to, we did Nikunj, right? Go ahead, Utsav, go ahead.
I just want to point out one more thing. And I think Nikunj,
I'm going to jump off. So sorry, my apologies.
Okay, thank you so much, Nikunj. Thank you, Nikunj.
So I just wanted to point out one more thing, that this is not about caste at all. This is about targeted anti-Hindu bigotry. This whole issue, even though we because the bill contains the word caste, we have been talking about caste. But the fact of the matter is that this bill has nothing to do with caste. The entire bill is actually designed and targeted at promoting anti-Hindu, anti-Indian, and anti-Asian bigotry. And that is something that we need to really highlight. And that is something that we need to expose, because most average Americans would just think this bill to be about caste and miss direction on the issue of caste. This has nothing to do with caste. It's about anti-Hindu bigotry. And this is a good day for us to expose that. Back to you, Sree. I guess we have Sree is stuck for trying to get somebody in from HF, and let's see.
I'm back. Sorry. I was on the phone with Satish Kumar Sharma ji. This is the first for me, okay? We are trying to get so many people on the line here because this is still unfinished business. Understand this, guys. And I'm going to go through all the WhatsApp groups that are right now rejoicing. 5 minutes, yes, you rejoice, but you have to chart out what comes next. These are not, easy, good losers. They are sore losers. And they will create every kind of noise possible to try and make it look like, the governor doesn't know his something from his something. I've seen, a certain soprano make a lot of interesting stuff. So Satish ji comes back on. Satish Chandra Vale is coming back online. Satish ji, your 1 minute thought, what needs to be done? And then we are adding some more people, but I know you're driving, Satish ji. If you can just give us your thoughts for 1 minute, and then Utsav and I will continue the conversation. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you again. I would say we have to keep the momentum, because we have seen these kinds of recent attacks on Hindus, and this was specifically targeted Hindu community. And they tried all the means. Opposition tried all the means. Initially, they put the Cisco case as part of their justification. and slowly they put some kinds of weird cases which has happened 20 years back on human trafficking and other things, right? And then lastly, in the Fresno city, they also passed that caste discrimination as part of a resolution, taking into the Espanol community into confidence, telling them that this is a caste which is nothing to do with that. So see, what they are is they are so much aggressive, and they are so much I would say that they wanted to have this badly passed within the California, and that did not happen. At the same moment, what we have to do is we have to make it much more stronger force and fight it out. And this is not going to end. We are going to fight it out at the at the federal level also, and make it much more formidable with our caucus. And thank you so much, Sree Iyer ji, for the valuable time given to me. Dhanyavad. Lehra do, lehra do.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And Sri, I must say that we have to be very careful about disinformation right now. That's why I brought up the Aisha Wahab quote unquote death threat issue. They started the campaign with what I believe is disinformation. And at a moment like this, when the governor has clearly taken our side, we have to be very cautious. I would urge all the listeners out there, all Americans in the media who are watching this, be aware that there will be more disinformation coming out from the people who brought in SB-403. So investigate everything properly, find evidence behind if there is any allegations made, because we want to make sure that people who were behind this SB-403 are thoroughly exposed for the disinformation they started off with and continued with it.
Thank you so much, Utsav. And viewers, we are about to get Sri Pandit Satish Kumar Sharma ji. He's traveling, but he is trying to get to a place from where he can call. And I just need to beg your forgiveness for a few minutes while he comes online. So here, this is HAF, Hindu American Foundation. They are clearly headlining it as vetoed by Governor Newsom. Now, see, the thing about this, this is all semantics at this point of time, Utsav. You wanted to see the word vetoed, right? Now, we have to go back and look at other bills that were rejected by any governor of California to try and see if it was something similar to this, or if the word veto specifically, has to be mentioned there. Clearly, he's not signing it. Of that, we are 100% sure. He's not signing it. So now what will happen is, first thing is, like you said, somebody will go up to them and try to say that, no, you didn't understand. Victimhood, lies, presumptions, and all sorts of innuendos. This is going to happen. I've seen a certain person who, will, froth when something like this happens. All overaction, I'm telling you, without any substance. Because you have to call the lies as it is. And you have your famous loudspeaker friend. He'll be there. He has to also lend support to this. That loudspeaker friend shall also probably, from wherever he is in the United States, he will jet across. So these are going to happen. But I think once the thing has been, refused, like I said, the Senate and the Assembly of California can still override. At what cost is the question? The question here is, this is not an easy one to override. And it also loses your basic, clientele, your constituents. They are going to say, look, the topmost elected authority in the state did not find merit in this bill. So what are you trying to do? Why are you wasting taxpayers' money? This is the one line again and again. Utsav, have you seen something like this where, the governor essentially implies that you are wasting taxpayers' money? I want you to just weigh in on this while I just take one quick call and then I'll be right back.
So this is very unique because it is important to know that Governor Gavin Newsom is from the same political party that championed SB-403. So for the senior most elected official from the state to reject what the party brought through the state assembly and the Senate is huge. And I think that is why it is important for people to get the message. My daughter, it's a weekend, so everybody is right now, joining this call. from wherever they were in such a short notice. So this is what this thing has actually led to. So I'm glad, Sree, that you were able to bring together such a big group on such a short notice. But the news itself is so humongous. But coming back to the topic, the governor couldn't have made it clearer. This is the part that's the best about this veto, that the governor could not have made it clearer. His party needs to get the message. See, the Democrats were the one in California who championed this through both the Assembly and the state Senate. And for Governor Newsom to say it so clearly is a message to everybody. Like the Democrats in Oregon who were contemplating bringing this in through the side door, get a message. Those in Seattle City, those in state of Washington, get a message. And we will ensure that people in Washington, D.C. get a message too. That's why, Sree, while you were gone, I was saying that on October 23rd at 4 o'clock, we have a briefing on this kind of targeted Hinduphobia and anti-Semitism. And the irony is that the events that are unfolding in the world today and have unfolded in the last couple of weeks lend us to believe that this entire thing, both Hinduphobia and anti-Semitism, needs to be addressed even more seriously at the national level. And I think this is a very important aspect to that.
Thank you, sir, so much. Thank you so much, Utsav ji. And Satish ji is momentarily joining us. I just wanted to make mention of one fact that, whatever be the thing here, I think, personal opinion, you can agree with me or not agree with me, Utsav, I think that the progressives, especially those who are form of this squad, they have overplayed their card. You look at anyone who comes and makes a statement in the Congress, they are, histrionically screaming, overacting, making it look like the end of the world is near if they don't get their way. What are you, 5-year-old? I'm asking this question of a 3-letter congresswoman. Are you a 5-year-old? Why do you behave like this? Anyway, so she has other problems also. My point, I think, is, do you think the progressives of the Democrats have overplayed their card, also given in light of what is happening in Israel today? Over to you.
Absolutely. They have overplayed their card. They have, in the process, what they don't realize is they have mollycoddled some of the most vicious and dangerous people from around the world and their backers in America. I mean, if you look at SB-403, members of the Khalistan cult openly were in support of it. If you look at SB-403, members of the Islamist organizations who have direct links with Jamaat-e-Islami, with Muslim Brotherhood, were in support of it. So, and we have been talking about this from the day it happened. That we have been calling this out. I personally met people and met state senators who agreed with us when they were meeting us, and then still went ahead and voted for this. So, this kind of a overreach of the progressives has been thoroughly exposed, but that is not enough. We need to name them and we need to shame them and tell them that supporting people who are backed by Islamists, supporting people who are backed by Khalistani cult members, supporting people who really hate Hindu in every way possible at a very fundamental level, are the backers of this kind of laws. And that needs to go away. It shouldn't be even brought in the Senate. That should be our next campaign. Such laws should not even see the light of day. It's bigotry.
Thank you so much. And come at the hour, come at the man, Pandit Satish Kumar Sharma. Namaskar ji. And it's been a while since we had you grace our channel. Pandit ji, first of all, congratulations. Your indefatigable spirit that this needs to be taken head on. People did not understand the seriousness until you came and told us in your soft words the impact of something like this, what can happen. So I yield the floor to you. You can share some of your thoughts on how this journey has been. In fact, it is still on. Over to you, Pandit ji.
Namaskar ji and Utsav ji, Jai Shri Rama, and congratulations to you, Sree ji, to yourself also. One of the challenges right at the beginning of this whole journey was that nobody was listening to us. We were putting forward a very simple proposition, very simple human rights issues, but nobody was listening. And finally, when we managed to start to get the vocabulary together and the ideas together, then suddenly people like yourselves, P Gurus, Hindu Action, people started to be heard. We created fora, and so many simple, straightforward, good community members, no great aspirations, no great political experience, they came forward and started to be able to express what was wrong with this. And I'm delighted that it's actually happened today. But my goodness, what a close call! I caught what Utsav was saying, and part of me is saying that what we have done is revealed the underbelly of a very unpleasant reality. You know, that it should go all this way to one person's desk, to pass through all the checks and balances, to pass through all the paraphernalia of civil rights and, you know, all these departments which are funded from the taxpayer's pocket to prevent injustices, that it should pass all the way through and then really come to this culmination. As Utsavji said, the work has just begun, because not only has this given us some degree of comfort and safety and time, but we have really got to now take this and work back through the same channels and hold each and every person accountable and ask them on what basis did they engage in malicious legislation, malicious litigation, which has caused our community so much harm, so much trauma. I know that there are relationships which our youngsters had with their own friends, which have been harmed and tarnished by these sorts of consciousness thoughts. The seeding of hatred has already been done. Although we have now got the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, agreeing and confirming that this is wholly unnecessary legislation, what about restitution? What about reparations? What about apologies from all of those people who so happily deemed Hindus as being guilty by birth, just by virtue of being Hindus? This should open the floodgates of a further engagement and of further requests for clarifications from each of these persons. If there was ever a case for a person, a senator, to be recalled, I would suggest that this is the case. There has been so much trauma and community friction created by what? A person whose ambition perhaps exceeded her wisdom, and there were no other parties, no persons available to her to say, young lady, sit down. Right? There are wiser heads who have seen an awful lot more political experience and engagement who are saying to you, don't light this fuse. This is hatred, and it should really have no place in our conversations in a 21st century. So I'm fairly confident that the community will now get together and perhaps demand accountability of her. But finally, turning to Equality Labs, the letter of Gavin Newsom, his response, it makes it very clear that existing legislation includes adequate provisions to deal with discrimination if it exists. And that's a big, bold, clear statement. And so why on earth would Equality Lab have ventured on this campaign of hatred and vilification, of dehumanization, of targeting Hindus specifically? Why on earth would she have done that? As a for-profit entity, I think there is really a need for her activities, her actions, and the role that they have played in harming our community to be scrutinized. I would be really surprised if there are no criminal provisions which are not applicable. Um, breach of the peace is an obvious one. Incitement to hatred is another one. All of these should really be explored by our entities, and I'm sure Utsavji and the other organizations I know have done a great deal of work on this. I'm hoping they will explore these avenues. But today is my last day in the United States. I'm actually flying off to New York in only a matter of hours. So I couldn't have wished for a better send-off than the news that has come through. And I would really like to just reach out to the people who saw that this needed to be done and who actually put aside their differences, many of them without any experience whatsoever, and helped us create a counter narrative. And the CastCon conference that we held, in which Sree, you were so kind as to join us and to record some of the statements. It was of a totally different way of engaging. Sundarji, I understand, has also expressed his delight. And so I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him, because his journey, I feel, has probably only just started. And let's hope that Hindus realize that what Edmund Burke had said is true today as it was in his time, that the price for not engaging in the political game is to be ruled by idiots. And we have come so close to seeing what the outcome is when you allow people of lesser ability and certainly less wisdom to acquire so much power. The capacity for harm is extraordinary. Here's to an awakened community in San Francisco, in the United States, and in Bharat. We did receive a great deal of support from the Bharatiya ecosystem as well. They were so keen to ensure that our interests were protected. And again, I'd like to give a shout out to Op Indian people who were very, very supportive, and also to congratulate them on their work for unveiling who this mysterious John Doe actually was. And perhaps it's time for him to step into the limelight and acknowledge his part in this terrible charade, this terrible this program of Hindu-phobic. So wonderful opportunities to everybody, wonderful gratitude and delightful news. I shall be sitting smiling at 32,000 feet and just reflecting on how the United Hindu community came together to defeat this anti-Hindu, Hindu program. Wonderful work, great news. Thank you so much to everyone. And Utsavji, lovely to see you and to be able to speak about this issue with a little bit of a smile on our faces as opposed to, right, what's the mountain that we have to climb next? Great work, everybody. And I'm happy to have been a small part of it.
Absolutely. And Sree, I just want to say one more thing. You need to get, we need to thank you for being consistent. And, this is your show. So nobody, we all talk about the issues and you're never actually spoken about yourself and your role. So I just want listeners to know and everybody who is watching this to know that he has been the Tendulkar of presenting issues. For those of us who are watching World Cup cricket out there, he knows when to strike. He knows with what force to strike, and he measures the words he puts out there, which is very unique in today's world because there are so many people out there trying to make news and make half-baked news sometimes. So Sree, thank you so much for keeping a sane head on your shoulders and traveling this journey and making everybody a part of this journey. So thank you for doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Utsavji. Over to you, Satish. You wanted to make a point.
Anji, I think that the time is right for us to invite Tanmosi Sundararajan and her group to sit and have a roundtable conversation, because good things can come out of this. And if she has been laboring under misapprehensions and misunderstandings, hopefully this will give her an opportunity to set back and say, well, actually, maybe I got a few things wrong. Maybe I was over enthusiastic or overly passionate in my cause. But I hope she realizes the harm that she did. And so there's a really good opportunity for both the oppressors. I mean, I have to laugh because my goodness, what a ridiculous label. For the oppressors and the allegedly oppressed, who she represents supposedly, to come together and have a roundtable conversation and see whether we can find something positive to emerge from this. So I would like to, through your medium, extend an invitation to her to have a conversation, perhaps around a Guru's roundtable.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to host something like that. Tenmuri, it's up to you. You can reach out to us and we'll be happy to host you. And we have somebody joining us. Hold on. Somebody's joining us from Chile, I think. Hi, Sohag. How are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry. It's my last day of vacation and what a day it's been.
Congratulations. I yield the floor to you. Go ahead. I mean, you know what happened. You probably had a chance to read the letter. It's
Yes.
a stinging slap against people saying that there is no new discrimination law needed in California, which is what we've been saying all along. If you have,
Exactly.
go for it. I mean, we've been
No,
talking for a long time now.
This is what we're saying from day one, that the law already protects against any of these types of intra-community dynamics that might be occurring that have no place in the workplace or in in housing or any other areas where non-discrimination laws have their effect. And so it's just a testament to the community. They woke up when we most needed it. Very often we hear kind of woe is me complaints about, oh, our community is like that only, we're so passive, we're this, we're that. But when it counted, I have to say that this victory belongs to each and every person who made a phone call, made a meeting, reading notes. Advocacy is not something that is traditional to our community, but people showed up to the various trainings that were being offered to the community, learned. I have to say that as a lawyer, the number of times that I've heard aunties and uncles say facially neutral to me is to me a success, in that people understand that laws have to be facially neutral and generally applicable to be fair. And that's exactly what SB-403 was not. And Governor Newsom saw that.
Thank you so much, Suhag. I didn't think, I've been trying to reach out to Mihir. He's probably in the emergency room. I don't know. But I'm glad that somehow somebody reached out to you. And I'm so happy that you found the bandwidth. You're coming through loud and clear, perfect video coverage. Guys, if you want to go to Chile, especially if you want to participate live on P Gurus, go for it. Vacation there. It's a good spot. So one thing that Satishji brought up, and I want you to put on your legal hat a little bit. You can feel free to kind of, how to put the words together. What he said was, see, you should not just drop this and move on. Somebody had malicious intent in this whole thing. You have a rookie state senator, and the person is handed something of which the senator has no clue. So 2 or 3 things I want to tell you also. So should there be some kind of a criminal action for like inciting hate and inciting violence? It actually has resulted in the death of a dear friend of mine. And what are the options available legally to make sure that such frivolous things don't happen ever again?
Right. Well, first of all, it's hard for me to take off my lawyer hat. My husband can attest to that. So he's always a little bit understaffed on that end. But in all seriousness, no, we cannot. Yes, we succeeded here, but we cannot, just rest on our laurels. Absolutely not. I mean, we already have the Cisco case that is still ongoing, even though both the defendants were vindicated. It was a baseless case that had no factual backing to it. And then there's all the universities that have added caste to their policies. We have 2 ongoing civil rights lawsuits against both the Civil Rights Department, which is the department that is tasked with upholding civil rights laws, and as we saw in the case of Cisco, actually trampled all over them, not only of Sundar Iyer and Ramana Kampela, but also the community at large, with the racist and xenophobic baseless claims that they've made about the community writ large, as well as completely ignoring what the Constitution forbids them from doing, and that is entering into questions or debates about religious doctrine. And they have defined the caste system as being a religious and social Hindu hierarchy. That's not something that the state should be engaging in. So absolutely, we should not be resting on our laurels by any means. I think that we need to kind of still educate the community on both their rights and responsibilities. That what is allowed in the workplace, what is not allowed in the workplace, what are your rights, how do you go about filing claims or making sure, how do you document when things are happening that don't feel right. So those are things that we're going to continue putting efforts into. We have a Know Your Rights guide on our website at hinduamerican.org that's available for everyone, but we're going to actually update our sections on Title VII, which is non-discrimination laws in the workplace, because of the trends that we've seen over the past few years.
Thank you so much, Suhag. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It's been a long time today, about 54 minutes we've been having discussions. Many of our guests have come and left. And Suhag, I know you have a plane to catch. Panditji, yes. I know you have a plane to catch. And Utsav, I know you have a weekend to catch. So
yes. I've been traveling. My apologies for coming from a dark, dank, and unprepared room. But I was traveling, but this is such a good news. We cannot let this, go.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Sohag, for coming on at such a short notice. You too,
My
Panditji.
pleasure. My pleasure.
I've been giving 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Here, link, join now. That sort of stuff. Because I was still live on the program. So thank you all so much. Have a safe trip, both of you, Sohagji as well as Panditji. And we'll be catching up. Because again, like I said, this is just the beginning. There are a lot more things to happen. This bill could be reintroduced in a different form again. You never know. Because there are people who are willing to put money, and the way I see it, and people say I'm too direct, but I can't help myself. The first thing is, Sohagji, Utsavji, Panditji, you probably don't know this. US expression is, if there is a bar brawl, if there's a fight in the bar, the police will arrest the person who threw the first punch. It doesn't matter how many epithets you hurl at each other. The first punch is the one who's going to be arrested. And in this case, I'm afraid that happens to be a state senator, and I think we should not let that person go off easily. So again, that was one of the things that Panditji had mentioned. And the second thing that I am saying, Sohagji, you are not a resident of state of California, neither are you, Utsav, but I am. My taxes are paying their salaries. Many of you state senators and assemblymen, you are hearing what we are saying. You are not listening to what we are saying. You may want to have your listening cap on from here on, because it has been a big disappointment. Some of the answers you guys gave us, it has been a big disappointment. I hope you are much more tuned to what people have to say. Thank you very much once again, gentlemen. Namaskar.
Namaste.
Jai Shri Ram. Safe travels, everybody.
Likewise.